Rapper Jay-Z had a quote. He said, "I tell it how it is. You tell it how it might be." In life, sometimes, you know what I'm saying, we have things that we like to believe. We have things that we like to see from folks. We have an imagined perception of what we want people, to be in our mind. Sometimes you're in a relationship with somebody, be it, business wise, or whatever the case may be. You know, so it is about learning to see things just for what they are. Like I said, this year I'm just not fooling myself about what it is with different people. What it is with different circumstances. Flat tire, round. You know, well, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes we have these images of people in our minds, these pristine things, these ways that we would like to see things, the way that we like to see people. But the reality is, it is what it is. Thank you for listening. Thank you, everybody, for being here in the chat. And that's what it is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I just think, we come to a lot of times in our lives where we have to just be realistic. Yeah, what's going on, people? What's going on? I don't know. I don't know. I'm at this point in my life. I just want to see things for what it is. Thank you, Just Us. It was an awesome conversation last night. I appreciate everybody that came through. It had me more or less thinking about truth. It had me more or less thinking about, just the reality of what is, as opposed to just saying, what, let's create this fictitious reality, in our minds about, what is. Like I said, what is the real deal with people? What is the real deal with things? What is the real deal with situations, with, things that people go through, and sometimes, we just fantasize in our minds about what we would like a situation to be. Whoa, we're starting to sound like Jim Carrey. Slow your roll. No. I mean, I'm not trying to drone worship. I'm not trying to sound like Jim Carrey or anybody. But my thing is, I'm just being realistic. You know, people have things going on. Like I said, I mean, we do have our things going on. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I don't want to put my preconceived notions on people. I don't want to assume and fantasize, what a person should be in a situation. If things are not working out, or things are not what it is, then that's what happens. What's going on, Yas Poet? Yeah, sometimes you have to see certain things that are unpleasant. The Lord, peace and understanding. Live in the moment. Everyone is guilty and proven innocent. Trust no one. Said my father. Hey, maybe something to that. Just us. Who knows? Maybe people do front. I don't know. But it is a situation where the worst lies that we tell are the ones we tell to ourselves. And sometimes we lie to ourselves about who people really are in our lives. Sometimes we want to see the best in a person when they're only giving us the worst. Sometimes, we want to see things, better than what it is, and it's not really that. Sometimes things are beautiful. Sometimes things are the right situation, and we're not satisfied enough. What's going on, Stump Green, SC? Yeah, hopefully all are well in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's just something that was just on my mind, something that I knew I had to talk about eventually. Just learning to see the world as it is. I know Just Us in the conversation last night was just talking about people having their own truths, and their own beliefs and stuff like that. And I was saying how hey, what's up going on, Empowerment Zone? Thank you for coming through. I just want to see things as they are. I just want to see, stuff as it is presented. I don't want to fake and falsify, what's really going on around me. I want to really know, that people are there for me, or if I'm there for them, or just if situations are things that I'm supposed to be involved with, work, if, or life, business, whatever the case may be, personal relationships. I think sometimes we spend too much of our time in situations and things with places and people that aren't really, matching up with our values and aren't really going to where we needed to go. And sometimes you have to release yourself from that position and that situation. Pauline's just living. Thank you for coming through. like I said, this is probably more reflective than last night. Last night was probably a deeper conversation, and I encourage anybody to go look at that conversation that we was having about truth. It was a lot more dramatic as well, with candles and all that other stuff and matches. But this is not that conversation. This is more reflective. This is more daylight. This is more just sitting there, just passing the time, wondering, having a conversation. I'm pretty sure by now you can spot the real and what's fake from a mile away through experiences that you already have. Yeah, you can. As far as people, yeah, just us. You can spot the real, the fake, and all that stuff. But it still doesn't, it still doesn't make it any easier sometimes. Pauline Just Living, I was able to comment on that video. Oh, sorry to hear that. You should be able to comment on it now because I think the video is fully uploaded. Pauline's Just Living. It was an awesome conversation last night. Very deep conversation. I mean, it went in directions that I didn't even expect it to go. We were talking about religion and faith and science and all that other stuff. As the saying goes, whatever in life doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I'm a witness. I hear that, Yas Poet, definitely. As time goes on, as things happen, you do get stronger. And in situations, as some folks said in the comments, people do front, and put on airs and whatnot. And sometimes other folks can't handle other people's baggage. But sometimes you shouldn't have to handle other people's baggage. I mean, if you really care about a person, you come into their lives and you address certain issues and whatnot, and try not to put your drama and stress on other people and come with a clean slate. But that's just my opinion on that. But like I said, people will do what they do for the purposes of this conversation. This is about us as people learning to see what we see on the other end. But at what point does the game stop? At what point do people say, okay, this is childish and move on? That's a great question, Just Us. That's a great question. I mean, that's a beautiful question, and I have an answer to that. This is a many-fold answer. Games stop, but no, I got you, Just Us. Like, that was a great question. Believe me, you've been having great questions lately. Showing love and support. Thank you, True Average, Jane Vlog. Thank you for coming through. Let me get back to your question though. Just Us Hambrooks. At what point does the games? Hit that like. Thank you, I appreciate that. At what points do the games stop? Sometimes the games never stop, depending on the person that you're dealing with. Sometimes people will play the game until there's no more game to be played, and I've dealt with that situation with different people, be it male or female, in work and relationships and passing. What happens is that people play the game, until there's no more game left to be played, until the players are gone, And then there's another thing that happens. The games sometimes don't stop until we stop playing. New to the channel, Linda Safe Haven. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you for coming through. Cheers to you as well for coming through. Sometimes the games never stop, depending on who it is, and sometimes you have to just remove yourself from the game. I should probably do a live stream on the games people play. I think I did one about that. But we do tend to play games with people. Sometimes you get bored in life. Sometimes you just you don't want to be alone. Sometimes you just want to not really be true and straight up with a person, but take them end around and around long way around the barn and stuff like that. So I guess to answer your question, Just Us, it's a situation where the game stops sometimes when you remove yourself from the game, or literally, people just get tired, or just go until they didn't have enough. Sometimes you need to just burst their balloon, even if it's someone close to you. I agree with you, Pauline's Just Living. Sometimes you need to do that. It's hard sometimes because sometimes when you're dealing with people, places, or things, you want that person, place, or thing in your life, and you like the way that it made you feel, but it may be harmful to you. It's like a drug, you know what I'm saying? It's like some alcohol or something like that. You taking a sip and it tastes so good and it feels so right going down your throat. But it's so bad for you because in the long run, it's just a self-destructive thing. It's like a cancer. And you hate to say that about people, places, or things in your life. Yeah, sometimes it does get overboard, but sometimes it feels so good, Pauline. I mean, I know some of us out there who've had people in our lives or things in our lives that were just, so bad for us, but felt so good. Good morning. How are you doing? Show support. Thank you, Burry Love. Appreciate you showing love and support. Thank you for coming through to the chat. Much love to you. And sometimes that's just the case. It happens. We've played games with people. People have played games with us. These are things that just happen, you know. But the question comes, like Justice said, when does it stop? And reality on our end, sometimes the games don't stop until we actually remove ourselves from the game. It's like you sitting down playing a video game, you know, and unless the power goes out on the video game or the batteries die, and the video game doesn't stop until you stop playing it, whether on your smartphone, you know, whether on your TV, you know, whether your game system, whether in real life. Sometimes the games don't stop until you just decide to stop playing. Hard to realize when enough is enough. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it is. But hopefully, if we're wise, we realize that enough is enough before somebody actually gets hurt, somebody gets locked up, somebody gets, you know, killed, somebody catches a disease, you know, somebody, you know, just loses money, whatever the case it may be. You know, like I said, hopefully this conversation ain't too deep for folks, but this is just me reflecting. This is just me talking about something that's been on my mind, something that's been, you know, percolating in my brain, you know what I'm saying, and just going around in circles and stuff like that. I try to leave it alone, come back to it, pick it up and stuff like that. But these are just some of the things that I think about, and I have so much more. Mrs. P, thank you for coming through, Mrs. P. Please let me know if you're going live later on today. I would love to join you and Mr. P over there in the UK in a live stream chat. You know what I'm saying? Always an awesome experience with the two of you. Tell Mr. P that I've said hello, and, you know, young Mr. P, I said what's up. You know, so like I said, thank you. And I encourage people to check out Mrs. P's live streams. Awesome live streams with her and her husband, just, you know, having a nice little chat. And then the cat Lucy, you know, Lucy made, you know, pop up and make an appearance. I love Lucy. You know, so there you go. But nah, you know, I don't think we are Pixie watches. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. But if you're going live as well, Mrs. P, just let me know. You know, but like I said, if I'll be off tomorrow as well too. So if you're going live tomorrow, then, you know, I'll check you folks out definitely. You know, but I mean, in life, back to what I was saying, in life, you know, we have, you know, toxic people in my life, toxic things in our life, you know, that we need to let go, you know. And we have things that we fantasize about, and we create these realities in order to cope with them. Be it somebody in a domestic violence situation, you know, be it somebody in abusive relationships and stuff like that. Sometimes we dress up the reality and make it, you know, better than it is in order to cope with the nonsense that we're going through, or we're allowing ourselves to do, you know. And, you know, sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves. If we have destructive habits, or we have things that happen that need to change. Do you feel like the need to be in a relationship is pushed too early in age? Sometimes it may be. It may be. I may be about toxic relationship, but they said they do exist. Sadly, they do exist. Exactly. They do exist. Pauline's just living. I need to check out that video. I definitely need to check out that video on toxic relationships. You know, I need to check it out after this live stream. Definitely. You know, let me see what Mrs. P said. Mrs. P have said something. And Lucy said hi too. Listen, yeah, I love some Lucy. You know what I'm saying? She gets her cameos in, you know. But nah, definitely we do have toxic relationships. We do have toxic things in our lives and habits and stuff like that that need to change if we want to better our lives and, you know, be put in a situation where, you know, things can actually prosper. Now, if you don't want to prosper, if you don't want to do, you know, the best that you can and live your best life, then, you know what? That's on you. Thank you, Bumblebee Junction, for coming through. Stop by Dose of Realness. Tank Girl, pun intended. Funny. Do you feel like men need more time to reach a certain level to be ready for marriage, children, etc.? I think, personally, maybe it's not a matter of age, but teaching. You know, because I don't believe anybody should be, I mean, of course, legal age. You know, you shouldn't be getting married at 13. Is it unfair to ask them that for them before the age of 25? No, it's not, depending on the teaching. I think just us, depending on who the man is. If a man is 23, 22, if a man even he's like 18 and they're ready and they've been trained, you know, then I say, you know what, yeah, go for it. But I don't think it should be pressured and pushed on them. I think, you know, marriage, this is my opinion. I think as far as marriage, as far as, you know, a man is concerned, if he's ready for it and he had the training and he comes from a great background and willing to accept it, then, you know, hey, why not? I feel like people aren't stable enough before marriage nowadays. I agree with you, Justice, but this comes down to another thing that people don't like to talk about: courtship. If we talk about courtship, how they used to do it back in the olden times, you know, the olden days, you used to go out with somebody and there was no kissing. And thank you, Pony Just Living. You used to go out and there was no kissing, there was no hugging, there was no touching. Like, you know, before you got married. If anything, the furthest that you may have went in a relationship is to just kiss somebody. That was a big deal back in the olden days. Now, what happens is you done had sex and you done had kids and you know you done met the parents and you done lived the whole life before you actually got married. The horse is a bad goat. Okay. That's interesting, Bumblebee Junction. Yeah, but just us to answer your question, thank you for the thumbs up. I appreciate that. Just to answer your question or to answer your statement, just us. Yeah, it comes to a point where a lot of people are not prepared for marriage before they get to it. A lot of folks rush in and they learn the hard way. Sure, it'll grow together, but it's a strain to starting out. Yo, Mr. P, Pixie's channel in the house. Awesome channel, folks. I tell you to check him out, him and his wife. You know, Jeanette Pickering, great supporters in the community. Awesome folks, very funny, you know, in the sports, in the life, in the cooking. Just very awesome, down-to-earth people. I appreciate you, Mr. P, as always. Let me know if you're going live. Hopefully I can catch you. And like I said, just it's a pleasure to know you and your wife, your family. But yeah, just us. Yeah, hey, Lulu, love you. Live from Nova Scotia. I appreciate you. Another awesome channel. You know, she's into the rats and the ferrets, you know, the dogs and everything like that. Awesome channel. That Marilyn Monroe video was cool. Not tonight. Mrs. P said you were watching football. But yeah, just us to go back to your comment about people not being prepared for marriage, you know, before, you know, they get married. It happens because a lot of times, you know, we objectify situations. We like what we see, you know, and hey, what's going on, Drone Wolf Media? What's going on? I see you out there. So things have changed, you know, times have changed to where people, you know, they want to kind of, you know, like get a little taste before, you know, they buy, you know, like taste is choice. And sometimes you're eating whole meals before you actually decide to pay for it, you know, and then you look around and you're married and you got kids and stuff like that. And to each his own. We live in a different time and a different generation to where, you know, maybe, you know, like I said, people want to rush in and do it backwards. It's like an old timer told me. They said sometimes when you're in relationships, you'll have a girlfriend treating her boyfriend like a husband. Then when they get married, you treat them like a boyfriend. You know, then when you're not together no more, you know, you're just a dysfunctional divorced couple or something like that. So there's all these different things that are going on, you know, and you know, that's just what it is with that. And that's just my opinion. Maybe people disagree or whatever the case may be. But like I said, what's missing from marriage and that whole situation is the idea of courtship. People don't really practice that as much anymore. Courtship is probably one date, you know, sleep with each other, and then you decide from there whether or not you're going to sleep with each other again. And that's what happens with that. I have to decline that call because I am live. Sorry about that. My glasses are ready and they called me while I was doing a live stream. If you can still hear me. I don't know if I'm still live. Forgive me. I'm still live. I think I'm still live. Can you folks hear me? My wife and I had 3 kids before we married. Well, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, if you meant to be together, then you meant to be together. Yeah, I'm still live. You know, as far as that goes, sometimes it works out. Sometimes people just do it in reverse. Thank you. I sold my truck and my wife's parents across the country. Wow. Okay. Wow. That's interesting, Bumblebee. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. I just say most people give up too easily today. Yes. Chivalry is not dead. I agree with you. It may not. Well, some people would say, yeah. Some people say that's a bit extreme. I mean, but it's different times. You know, people go through different things. Sometimes you just do the situation in reverse. We've been together for 13 years now. Married for 3. That's cool. I mean, I guess you knew each other. You know, it's not to say that one way is worse than the other. It's just to say that sometimes people were not really prepared for marriage. Some people get prepared for marriage because they were friends for a long time. Some people had situations where, you know, like I said, they met each other through a mutual friend and they grew and developed over time. That was 20 plus years, 2 kids, 2 grandkids ago. Oh wow, Bumblebee. We've been together 17 years and married 15. That's awesome. Like I said, we have some veterans, some marriage veterans in the live stream in the chat. And people meet each other through different ways. You know what I'm saying? It's just that we live in a different time. If you want to be real, marriage takes work today, and a lot of people don't want to put in the work. Mrs. P, I can't agree with you more. Oh my God, it feels like 50 years in. Oh my God. Well, that's between you and Mrs. P, but you folks are awesome. You're a treasure to know, you know what I'm saying? Like the two of you together. I've been married twice, and the first time it was in high school. It was too soon, but in the Bible, burning in hell. Nah. It's a difference with that whole thing in the Bible and divorce and stuff like that. That's another conversation, but people misinterpret what that means, but I'll give you this. Sometimes getting married from high school can be way too soon. It's not always hearts and roses, but we had to take the good and the bad. Exactly. Some people say you take the crookeds with the straight, Mrs. P. But you did. That's where the vows come in, for better or worse, through sickness and health, till death do us part. And that's when people start getting shaky. They say, "Oh, to death do us part." More good than bad, says Mr. P. I appreciate that for you being candid and honest about that. But that's just what it comes, what it comes to, with marriage and stuff like that. And hear me talking about marriage. Never been married a day in my life. I'm married to these streets. I'm married to YouTube. I would never abandon her or my children, and I would never marry another to have children by another. I married my best friend 20 years ago. I'm so blessed. That's awesome, Lulu Lovey. That's awesome. I mean, I guess some of the folks in the chat, maybe you could tell us, what your secret is, or what kept y'all together for so long. On my second marriage, first wife didn't want kids. Second couldn't have kids. It is what it is. I've come to terms on no kids at 50 years old. That's interesting. Sorry to hear that, Drone Wolf. What is Mr. P saying? Marriage is like a good wine. It gets better with age. Some people say that about Mel. Like I said, I get better with age. But yeah, I can relate to that. I can definitely relate to that, Mr. P. So it gets better with age. Well, I think it's about coming to grips with it. Even though we veered off into marriage in this conversation, I do think marriage is really a part of this conversation as well. Just learning to see things for what they are. Learning to be realistic. Mrs. P says, as far as marriage, trust, and friendship, Trouble with media says some spoil with age. Yeah, some wines spoil with age, but that's the cheap wines, So those cheap wines spoil with age, what I'm saying? I've been married for 5 years now to a current husband. I'm 27 and no regrets, but definitely learn from the lessons. Exactly, Justice. That's what it is. Marriage is a bond between man and woman when the two become one. Exactly. Well, nowadays, I have to say it, not to be politically correct. Nowadays, marriage has been redefined. I mean, I believe it's a union between man and woman, but it's also, in certain countries and a lot of countries, a union between two persons, be it they're of the same sex, or not, So there's people out there that subscribe to that, and I don't want to alienate that. The land of the law is that as well. Secret, not all that glitters is gold. The grass is not greener on the other side, and divorce sucks. I am not spending 2 years sorting out my sock drawers. Interesting. I didn't know you were spending out 2 years sorting out your sock drawers for 5-minute fling. Too lazy. Interesting. Mel marriage counseling open for business. Funny. I don't know if I'm a marriage counselor. That would take years to do. Marriage is a learning curve, and so is parenting. Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about parenting? Woo! I'll say this. And I don't care who gets mad, if a family member or anybody out there that knows or hears about this. Look, everybody ain't meant to be no parent. Everybody ain't meant to be no parent. Let's just call a spade a spade. Kids do the socks in your house. That's funny. That's funny, Beats. Sometimes you got to give the kids chores too. Let them grow up. I used to have chores as a kid, wash the dishes, clean the bathroom. Do you think that nowadays women are less feminine and men have been emasculated? You know what's funny? Just us. You a good dad, Beats? We had to take your word for it. You know what's funny about that, Just Us? I was gonna do a live stream on that subject, as well about the, I guess, femininity, masculinity. But I can still do it and still answer this question. Do I think women are less feminine nowadays? No. Do I think men have been emasculated in a lot of ways? I don't think men have been emasculated. I think men, there's a lot of men out there that choose to be emasculated, but I don't think they've been emasculated. I think it's more of a choice. There are women still out there that love a real man. Well, there's a lot of women out there that love a real man, but even if a woman is empowered, or doesn't seem as feminine, doesn't mean she's not feminine. If a woman is a feminist, doesn't mean she hates men. It just means you're more for women. There's a lot of misconceptions about feminists out there that, they hate men and they can't stand them, and there's woman power, and, everything is for the woman and whatnot. But a woman can be fully in her own, can be powerful, can be strong, can be just, have the prowess of it, and still love a man. I think nowadays a lot of people reject the traditional roles. Well, you shouldn't have to have the traditional roles. Hey, DMs mix up. Well, I think we should learn from tradition, but at the same time, we're in the 21st century. So the ways that you may look at life and business and love and things like that, you don't have to be. We did it for 3 years, but built a solid foundation on trust. Without 100% trust in our partnership, issues will pop up. Let me see. Issues will pop up and weaken the relationship. Exactly. I agree with that, Lulu. A lot of youngsters in the UK nowadays produce children just to get council houses, but they don't realize the effect that the real actions of having kids. Exactly. My wife has become the boss. That's funny. Well, sometimes you have to do that in a situation, but in any relationship, I let the women know that I'm the boss. Let me stop. Oh my God. Did you see that? Oh, that was funny. I don't know if y'all saw that. Woo. That's funny. Oh, man. I saw that. I got to go back in the live stream. I don't know if y'all saw that. Yeah, it was a flash. Well, it got to be what it got to be. Yeah. Your wife has become the boss. Yeah, you saw it. Well, that's a flash. We got to see what happens with that, my wife has become the boss. I'm just a muscle. Well, sometimes it has to be that as well. I think men and women should both work, but nowadays some men don't want to work. They want to be taken care of. Unfortunately, just us. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know some people who want to be worked. Who want to work and just be taken care of. Some women don't want to work either. Well, but a woman can. I hate to say this. A woman can get away with that, depending on the relationship and whatnot. If she's having kids and taking maternity leave, and if the husband or girlfriend, whatever, wife or whatever, on the other side is willing to do that and they make that agreement, fine. That's something that's still accepted. There's a reason the husband is called the head of the household. Too many men have given up that responsibility. Yeah, there are men that probably given up that responsibility, but at the same time, there are women out there that saying that they want to be more like a partner. My wife wants me to stay home. That's interesting. Beats. It's a situation where it's a partnership. I think more women want to be partners, in the relationships, or, having to be, like in charge of stuff as well, which they should be. If a woman could, do the same things as a man and is willing to accept the responsibilities, then why not? But I think it's more or less about being partners, in life, and not shying away from that type of stuff. Your wife is the best. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear, Beats. But like I said, I think it's a partnership. It's a mutual understanding, agreement that happens. I'm a stay-at-home wife and homeschool and side hustle fam. No excuses except disability or elderly. I have to go. Tea is ready. All right, Mrs. P, thank you. My wife worked hard at raising our kids. Yeah, no, it's cool. DMs mix up. I mean, each person has something to contribute in a relationship. It's nothing to say, hey, look, maybe it's something that you want to do from home. Maybe it's something you want to do from the office. There's different ways that you work with each other as life partners, as, just, I don't know, just people who mutually understand and respect each other in a particular relationship that you're in, and that's just really based upon, who you are as people, the individuals involved. Do you really want to see each other eye to eye? Point is that they contribute to the relationship. Exactly, just us. You want to be in a relationship where both parties contribute, their share equally. It doesn't have to be the same amount of money. It doesn't have to be the same amount of resources, but it just has to be an amount that's equal, to what, is going on. Eating dinner, catch you later. All right, Mr. P, thank you. Enjoy the tea, enjoy the dinner. Some folks don't want to contribute at all. Yes, Mrs. P. Thank you. Some people, and Mr. P. You're right, just some people don't want to contribute at all. Read the rest of it. No, no, I seen it. I definitely seen it. You know, no, I seen it. Why you worked hard to support us. No, definitely, definitely. I got that part. DMs mixed up. Your wife worked to take care of the kids while you work hard to support us. Definitely, definitely. I commend that and applaud that. Folks want to come to the table empty-handed. Yes, and unfortunately, there are situations where that happens. Just us. Bumblebee Junction says, "I live a life, whatever. I live a life to see my wife's needs are met, and she's happy. She does the same. When each life, the other is not best to be happy. You'll both be happy." No, I definitely agree. When lives for the other, when one lives for the other, each other, both will be happy. I definitely agree with that. One is concerned with taking care of the other is concerned with taking care of the other. If you're taking care of each other, then you have no lack. There's always needs being met. I definitely agree with that, Bumblebee Junction. Forgive me for my poor reading. There's no boss in my marriage. We make decisions together and share the responsibility of being parents together also. That's awesome, Lulu. I mean, maybe that's how it should be. Both partnerships, y'all could lead together, or there's no leader, there's no boss. I'm glad she took the hard job. Yes, DMs mixed up, so I'm glad she took on the job as well. DMs mixed up, that's a traditional role that gets shunned nowadays. Which is true, just us. That role gets shunned. But at the same time, what happens is, if people agree to these roles and they understand and mutually respect each other, there's nothing wrong with that. But it becomes a problem when this has to be something that happens and you can't outlive or outgrow or change and adapt to the 21st century. You know what I mean? Beat says, my wife stayed home. First 2 kids, second 2 she work. I work nights. I stay at home. Parent is a better child. Parent is better. That our child care is night shift splits. Oh, okay. I understand, Beast, but I guess that all depends on how you interact with each other. That depends on what kind of agreements and things that you have, how you set things up and whatnot. Let's say, just as I get so much flack for being a stay-at-home wife with a CDL, so much flack and negative opinions. Well, just us, it's not about other people's opinions. It's about what's working for you and your family. Even though I still make money, I still get flack. Yeah, just us. It's not about what other people think about what's going on. As long as you taking care of your household and you making sure things are going right between you and your spouse and your kids are taken care of and you doing what you need to do, forget what everybody else thinks, because people feel like they know so much about your life than you do. And nobody can live your life like you do. Nobody can live in your situation better than you do. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a stay-at-home mom, you have a CDL license, and you make money on the side, and your children are being raised, and your household is being taken care of, then screw everybody else in their opinion. Because like I said, they're not coming there to raise your kids. They're not coming there to make sure your bills are paid. They're not coming there to make sure that you're happy. You know what I'm saying? They're not. I don't have the answer to all your questions. That's my story as well. We chose the roles because of our needs, and I would be glad to stay at home but I was simply able to make more money than her. Well, I mean, listen, it happens. As long as you treat each other with dignity and respect, it shouldn't be a problem. Well, when you work split shifts, you never see each other, and when you do childcare, someone is raising your child. When one stays home, you raise your own kids and get to see each other. This is true, but I'm all facts, man. I just was interested in my opinion. Well, my opinion is this. My opinion is just honest. It's if you're able to come to a mutual understanding or agreement with your spouse on what roles you're going to play and how you're going to relate in your marriage, as long as there's no abuse going on, as long as there's no demeaning or verbal, physical, sexual, mental abuse, financial abuse, do what you got to do. If somebody has to stay home, or somebody has to go to work, or both have to work and you have to get child care, or if you're doing something, as long as it's beneficial to the family unit, as long as you have open lines of communication, like what Lulu Love You was saying in here, then things don't creep up and make the situation worse. Just like DM's mix up, you come to an understanding that One person's going to stay home and watch the kids, while another goes to work because they can make more money. Or if you're in a situation like Just Us Hambricks, where you basically say, you know what, I'm home, I have the side hustle, I'm doing what I have to do, I'm homeschooling my children, I'm doing all these particular things, then that's what it is. I enjoy hearing people's outlook on stuff. I listen to understand, not just to respond. There you go. There you go, Justice. And a lot of people need to do more of that. But unfortunately, like you were saying, people have negative opinions and views on us no matter what. My wife has a name and it's not my wife. That's funny. That's funny. That's good. That's good. I'm glad that your wife has a name. I'm glad that hopefully you call her by her name and whatnot. That's cool. I appreciate that. But yeah, just us. It's important to listen. Just to listen and hear first, and not just to respond. First listen to understand. Then to be heard. So that's what happens with that. But like I said, in relationships, as it pertains to any relationship you're in, it is a mutual situation. It should be. I feel two old goats all day long ran. What? Ram heads. People look at the field and don't understand, but one goat would be lost without the other. It don't have to make sense to anyone but those two goats. Well, yeah. I get the analogy. You're saying that the relationship between the two goats makes sense to each of them by ramming their heads together. It doesn't make sense to anybody else that doesn't understand why the two goats ram their heads against each other. That's their relationship and way of communicating. I get that, Bumblebee. Just us says. And sometimes it's like that in relationships. Well, but I do suggest against ramming your head against your spouse. So don't ram your head against your spouse, like two rams in the field. That won't make sense because you don't have ram's horns. But yeah, how you do what you do may not make sense to everybody, else out there. But if it makes sense to you and you're not harming anybody by living your life and doing what it is that you do, then have at it. To each his own. You know what I'm saying? Just, treat each other with honor, with love, with respect. Make sure you take time out to listen to folks. Take time out to understand that people won't understand why you do what you do. And then even if they did understand, they may not agree with it because they may not like how you do what you do. Not a commentary on head ramming, just only two things make sense. No, I know Bumblebee Junction. I know. I was just adding my little satirical or funny part to the thing. I totally get the analogy. It makes sense to the two rams. It just doesn't make sense to everybody else. People communicate in different ways. So, that's just one of those things that happen as it pertains to that. And my thing is just like, okay, the two of you understand each other. As long as the family unit is communicating as it should, then, what's the use? What's the point? Why not do what it is that you do? Nothing wrong with that. That's just really where I go with that situation. This tea is interesting right now. I know a lot of people that struggle because they don't work together as parents. One parent will discipline and the other parent will break the rules, causes friction in the household. Yeah, man, you got it. That's why we did it. Oh, okay, you're talking to tech. Yeah, I agree with you, definitely, Lulu, love you. If you're not communicating with each other and really coming eye to eye and being on the same page in your relationship, then it can cause friction because, one person is saying that the child should be raised that way, another person is saying the child should be raised this way. And then especially for those parents that are not living in the same household with the child, it's very difficult to try to raise a kid in two different households. Because when you go over to one parent's house, they're saying break all the rules. When you go to another parent's house, they're saying you got to follow all the rules. So you learn different realities. My wife is the man with the head, but the woman in the neck, and the meaning of the woman directs the man. Interesting. Yeah, and kids can try to play parents against each other, but you have to spot that. Definitely just us, but that's where the communication comes in. But some parents allow that because there's friction between the two parents not communicating. And this is something that comes with courtship or getting to know people before marriage or you're in relationships. And ask the tough questions. Like an old timer had to tell me, sometimes in life, in relationships, people are afraid to ask the tough questions. How are you when you argue? What are your politics? What are your religious beliefs? What are your political leanings? How are you when you're sad? How are you when you're sick? How are you around family members? How do you deal with pressure? How do you deal with pain? What makes you sad? You know what I'm saying? So many are letting TV and the school system raise their kids. Well, Bumblebee Junction, correction. Nowadays, they're letting the internet raise their kids. Social media raise their kids, you know, in the school system. I don't even know if the school system is raising them now. School system is worried about whether or not they're going to shoot the kids and lock them up and do all this other stuff. I always ask the tough questions. I hope you do, Beats. But there's a lot of youngsters out there. There's a lot of people out there going through stuff that don't ask the tough questions. You know what I mean? I get back to work. See, all right. Thank you, DMs Mix Up. Thank you for coming by, supporting the live stream. Always an awesome time, a treat to see you here in the live stream. And I encourage people to, support DMs Mix Up out there. But a lot of times, men don't want to be vulnerable enough to answer those questions. This is true, Just Us. This is true. Unfortunately, there's a lot of men out there that don't want to be, vulnerable to let those questions be to be asked or answered, and that's to their detriment. I say to any man out there, that's to their detriment, because now they miss out. And then, the funny thing is, a man doesn't want to ask the tough questions or be asked the tough questions, and then they get with somebody who's not the right one, and then they got the nerve to turn around and say that woman was a soul snatcher. No, you snatched your own soul away from the woman, but not just being real and straight up, and you find yourself with a harlot somewhere, and now you caught up in a situation with somebody you don't love. What's going on, Mills? Thank you for coming through. Appreciate you. Llama Monster, always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for coming through. Vulnerability is one thing. Being realistic about that vulnerability is another. My kids are raising my wife and myself. They don't have phones, and they work hard to earn electronics. That's an interesting way of doing it. Hey, why not? If you can get that to work out with your kids, they sneaking to school and, got their friend's smartphone saying, well, daddy said I can't have a phone. I don't know, but that's funny. But yeah, Just Us. There's a lot of people out there that don't want to be vulnerable, that don't want to be known, that don't want to communicate, that don't want to see each other, for who they are, So, like I said, it happens. And unfortunately, there's a lot of men out there who don't, want to express themselves and get in touch with, their more vulnerable side. And that's to their detriment. That's when you wind up missing that one. It's like I told somebody years ago, things must be earned and they are privileges, not rights. I could get with that, Beats. An old timer told me one thing, as far as, being vulnerable and dealing with the wrong person. He said to me, look, you could be dealing with the wrong woman, right? Walking down the street with her doing your thing, and the woman that you're supposed to be with is across the street wanting to talk to you, but not talking to you because they see you with that other woman, saying, what are you doing with them? That woman doesn't fit you. You shouldn't be involved with her. You know what I'm saying? And that's what some people end up. No, I just want to say I dig your taste in home decor. Thank you. It's not just my taste, but like I said, appreciate it. When I was growing up, we had to earn everything from bicycles to books. We didn't have TV in our households. That's interesting. Men really don't like to talk about feelings. This is true, unfortunately. Hey there, what's up, my brother? How are you today? I pray you're fine and you're traveling well, spreading the positive love. Thank you, KC Detox Diva. Thank you for coming through. Much love back to you. I appreciate you for stopping by the live stream. But yeah, men really don't want to talk about feelings a lot of times. But here's the thing. If you really want to be with somebody and have a real relationship and have something that's cohesive and something that's constructive and something that's going to last a long time, I'll say to a lot of men out there, you're going to have to talk about feelings. You're going to have to go to the vulnerable places. You're going to have to go to the deep stuff. You're going to have to tell somebody about it. I mean, so why not at least tell your wife, your significant other, your spouse, or whoever you're with, somebody, that one person you trust. See, here's the thing about feelings. You don't have to express your feelings with everybody. And that's what a lot of men may not understand, but expressing your feelings and your true thoughts and your deepest emotions with that one person that you're actually with, sometimes that's a requirement, Feelings are to be hidden deep inside and never spoken of. Yes, I have nervous breakdown every few years, but the system, and it works for me. Well, Llama Monster, if you live alone, then hey, you can hide your feelings. You can bury them deep down. You could be an ostrich in the sand with your head in the sand, and not ever deal with any feeling ever in your life. However, in order to overcome some things, we have to face it head on. And I have a live stream for that as well. But that's down the line. So I don't know if folks is actually going to remember that I said that. But yeah, sometimes the only way to get better or have the relationships that we need to be able to confront what's in front of us, to see things as they are, not as we would like them to be. Because, you know, sometimes there's instances when, you know, we're not really giving enough effort, or we're not really paying enough attention to things that need to be addressed. You know, be it issues of, you know, insecurities, be it issues of sexuality, be it issues of, you know, religion or political beliefs or leanings, you know, just how you take care of your health, you know, just seeing yourself for who you are, you know, and what you're doing. I had 6 years of an intense therapy learning how to deal with my feelings. And please read my last comment. It's very funny. I think I did read your last comment. Sometimes when we are driving, we turn up the radio all the way and yell out weird things like the windows down. It makes them so happy. That's interesting. That's interesting. I have to go, but I got to say I'm interested in your opinion about mental health in the black community and seeing therapy, and why some people are against it. I don't know if you want me to do a whole live stream about it. Well, I mean, black and mental health in the black community. I can touch on it real quick. It's not addressed enough. You know, I mean, in the black community, you know, mental health is probably something that's kind of like, you know, just not talked about. And I hate to say what I'm about to say. Some people may say, oh, that's like a white problem. You know, white people go through that. You know, there's no such thing as real mental health in the black community. That's how some people see it. Or some people see that's not something that they feel equipped to deal with. It's taboo. You know, it's really taboo in the black community dealing with mental health. You know, we'll deal with issues of crime and racism and religion and politics, but mental health, you know, nah. There's some people look at it as like as a problem for other communities to deal with. We don't have that issue in our community, right? Some people say there ain't nothing wrong with you, and they'll say we'll go and pray about it. Yeah, you can go and pray about it all you want, but you know, if your baby need medication and need therapy, you better go pray for some medication and some therapy. You better stop playing around. Ain't nothing wrong with prayer. Ain't nothing wrong with believing in Jesus. Ain't nothing wrong with doing all that. I gotta go play husband and keep it real. Yeah, thank you for having me. You know, I know the conversation got a little deep, but now I'm just answering questions. I'll answer any questions. It's not a problem. If anybody has a questions, I'll answer your questions. You know, not a problem. You know, but just the whole mental health thing, is taboo. You know, it's definitely taboo in the black community, and that's just where I stand on that. You know, but if you want me to elaborate further, just let me know. That's something I could do down the line, talking about mental health in the black community. Just let me know, you know. But yeah, for the most part, you know, this conversation is about seeing things as they are. And I guess this is the portion where I would ask anybody else if they have anything that they would like to add to the conversation. There's been a lot of awesome comments in the live stream as well. But I wonder if there's anything that anybody else has to say. Yeah, no, stay blessed, Justice Hamburgs. Thank you for the awesome questions. Thank you for the awesome communications in the live streams that you've been giving me lately. You know, like I said, it just adds to the conversation and moves it forward, which I always appreciate. You know, because you, the audience, you know, you bring so much. Crimson Fantasy. Did you miss out, Crimson Fantasy? You're here now. What did you miss out on, Crimson Fantasy? Well, I got many things to say, but must filter some of them. Say what you're gonna say. Oppression, poor diet, health, and spirituality. Okay. What do you want to say about that, Detox Diva? You know, I mean, those are issues that are out there. Those are things that are going on. You know, speak your mind. And I say to Beats, if you got something to say, if anybody has something they want to say, as long as they keep it respectful, as long as you're not profaning anybody or getting negative or trying to go after nobody on a witch hunt, say your mind. You know, speak your mind, speak your piece. You know, I gotta remember, have a great day, everybody. I Drone Wolf Media. All of these things are issues that are all part of with the mental health. Yeah. You say oppression, poor diet, health, and spirituality. You know, that could definitely be situations of mental health, how it affects us. We are in a box. Well, the thing is to pull it out of the box, Detox Diva. You know, you want to make these issues, you know, fluid. You want to not look at things as a cookie cutter approach to say that this is how things must be addressed and must be dealt with. Because sometimes when it comes to dealing with mental health, be it in the black community, be it in the white community, be it Asian, Spanish, you know, Russian, whatever, right? it's not always a cut and dry situation. You know, what happens when it's your family member? You know, what happens when it's somebody you work with? You know, what happens when it's somebody, you know, who is partly, you know, damaged but not all the way? What happens when somebody is dealing with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, from, you know, things that are going on, you know, from war, or somebody that was sexually assaulted, you know? So, you know, different mental issues develop based on different experiences people have. It could be a car accident. It could be any trauma that a person experienced. You know, it could be a, you know, a heart attack somebody had, and then, you know, you never know what's going to happen. So it's not always as simple and clear cut, you know, as people may think it is. So I definitely agree about it being, you know, put into a box. I read a lot about the majority of mental health issues and uncurable because they are not mental health issues but spiritual issues. You know, some people would suggest that maybe is a combination of both. I think these things contribute to depression, you know, mental health, and it becomes down to situations that triggers. It becomes that and never goes away. You know, there could be spiritual matters mixed within that, you know, but there's a lot of people that are not qualified to deal with that. That's why they may not understand that, you know. But I agree with you, Beats. And then also Crimson Fantasy, I do agree with your comments as well. Some things are just triggers, you know. Sometimes it could be abuse that you had as a child. Sometimes it could be, you know, situations, you know, of misconduct, or, you know, just things that you've went through from traumatic situations that trigger, you know, mental health issues. Sometimes it could be something that is hereditary. You know, you never know. Like I said, people may be bullied and develop certain issues, you know, or some folks are born a certain way. So, you know, it's never really a clear-cut situation. But I think the thing is to deal with it with love and an open mind. You know, you want to have an open mind when you're dealing with people who, you know, have mental health issues. You want to have patience. You want to have concern. You really have to care when it comes to mental health, because mental health takes a lot of energy from you. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of resources to deal with people who have, you know, mental challenges and things like that. It's not easy. It's not for the faint of heart to deal with somebody who has mental issues, and it shouldn't be taken lightly. You know, exactly. Open mind is key, because it can come off sometimes as they don't care. Exactly, it can. It definitely can. You know, but the thing is to care. The thing is to be concerned. And I tell anybody in a heartbeat, you know, hey, what's going on, Mark Place? You know, I tell anybody in a heartbeat, if you don't care, if you don't have the heart for it, if you're not into it, be honest, be real. If you're not really into dealing with people with mental health issues, and that's not what you particularly want to do, and that's not for you, you don't have the strength to deal with that, there's nothing wrong with saying I don't have the strength to deal with that. There's nothing wrong with saying that's not for me. But you're going to need help if something happens with one of your family members, or if you have a child, or you have a situation yourself that you develop, and there's mental health issues that you have to deal with. And a lot of times mental health issues don't get acknowledged because people say that these issues are not important enough, that you need to shake it off and get over it, or something like that. Maybe it's the loss of a loved one, or maybe it's a traumatic situation that you face. You know, maybe it's something that you're just going through personally that people just don't understand. Whatever it may be, mental health issues arise from a variety of things that people particularly go through. And to not acknowledge it, and to just, you know, throw it off, or to say it's not much of a problem, or you'll get over it and shake it off, or, you know, not to care, is something crazy. I'm a holistic, motivated, and spiritual counselor, and many people are not educated on diet, health, and spirituality. I work with them to deal with many issues, including medical health. Yes, everyone as well. When you tuck someone away, the lingering feelings will haunt you. Yes, I agree with that. And also, too, just to go back to what you were saying, Detox Diva, yeah, being a holistic, motivated, spiritual counselor, that's cool. So you would understand more about those issues and how to deal with it from that aspect. But there's a lot of people who don't. So there's a lot of people who will shun that and say that's not relevant. You know, that's not something that you could really, you know, use to help somebody with mental issues, which I reject. But, you know, people have their opinions. I'm not saying they're entitled to their opinions, but they have their opinions about what will and what won't work. But, you know, before you have an opinion about it, you know, do your research, find out a little bit more about what's real and what's not. You know, I'll leave it at that. And also, too, Crimson Fantasy, what you were saying, when you tuck someone away, the lingering feelings will haunt you, you know, because sometimes it's like you're abandoning a person, you know. It's like picture having like a mother or brother or a child that you just say, you know what, I'm going to put him away somewhere, I'm going to cut a check, and then that's the end of my responsibility. sometimes that can haunt you because you say to yourself that person needs you. Sometimes that person, is just not the same without you. Having that person around, and just putting them away in the cellar somewhere, that's a rough thing. It is a rough thing. But like I said, it is what it is. It's not right, but some people do it. You can't deny that. Maybe some folks are in denial. A lot of people are in denial when they have children that have mental health issues or physical disabilities or mental disabilities, however it may come. It's not an easy issue for people to tackle because it's something that doesn't go away. Mental health just doesn't disappear because you pass a bill through Congress or you donate money or you have a social media hashtag movement, or even you do a live stream, or you have a social movement that comes. Social movements don't get rid of mental health. They don't cure mental health issues. Checks don't cure mental health issues. These are things that are realities that stick with us. And it's important to deal with it with love, with patience, with kindness, with just, the appropriate measure of what one has to deal with it. You know what I mean? So, let me see if there's any other comments. I'm an indigenous and American, Native American. Is anyone born in America? 100 million Indians murdered and counting, but this is not even considered genocide. That's a deep issue right there. Wow. As far as the Native American Indian goes, wow, that's a deep issue. I don't know if we have enough time to tackle it in this live stream for the benefit of time, but I will say that to the Native American people out there, my heart goes out to you, and it can't be stated enough how much you've actually suffered, in this country and the things that have went on and whatnot, but wow. It can be considered a genocide. It can be considered, almost an extinction, even though that's not popular for some people to hear, but yeah. I can definitely relate to that. I can definitely understand why you would say that, Beats. I can definitely see that, and I'm just trying to wrap this up because I know I'm approaching the hour, and like I said, I see a lot of people have already went off and done their thing, but like I said, I'm just gonna keep this going until an hour, and then I'm going to wrap this up and then keep it moving and whatnot. Some people say you shouldn't tell people how long you live streaming, but I'm letting you know that this is going to be an hour live stream today, maybe a minute over or something. But, like I said, I'm just grateful to the people that have come by through to the chat. Andrew Jackson offered 5 cents per Indian head. People cashing in on it, loads of heads. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know where to go with that one, but, I'm not saying it's not true. But I thank people for coming through to the chat. I guess it's the thing that's been happening lately with my chats. I can start off on one subject, on one topic, and it winds up going every other which way the conversation can go, so that's just what that is. And I still have 3 people rocking strong with me, which I appreciate you 3 people being here to the end, whoever you are. I know it's Beats, you're one of those people, and the 2 other people that are here. No, there's nothing to be sorry about. Like I said, you're still here, okay, Detox Diva. I appreciate you for still being here. Like I said, these conversations are not meant to offend anybody. These conversations are just meant to be an open dialogue about issues that people face, things that I have on my mind. Just trying to, have conversation. I'm at work getting ready to leave. I wish you have a blessed day. Thank you, Detox Diva. I appreciate it. We have to have the hard conversations. I agree. But there's a lot of people out there who don't want to have the hard conversations. And you know what? I'm not mad at them, Detox Diva. There's some people out there who are just not ready for that. And it is also how you present it to them. You have to be able to entertain people. You have to be able to make them laugh, before you make them cry. You have to be able to, get them to think, in the midst of telling a joke, in the midst of being funny, in the midst of, doing what it is that you do. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, I make the attempt to have, engaging conversations, dope conversations. I make the point to say, what, let's talk. Let's just come here, and do what we do, And I'm appreciative because the audience responds, and I'm grateful for your response. I'm grateful to the fact that you come through and you just show love. That's what it is. What's going on in my world in OKC? You came at the time when I am actually about to end this live stream. Be blessed, Tech Beaks. Do. Okay, that's she's saying something to you. But yeah, also too, as always, I encourage everybody to support each other that's been through this live stream. check people out, go to their channels and see what's up. And in Spanish Inquisition. Oh, you trying to go there today, Beats? You trying to go there? Nah, don't be sorry that you late, OKC. Don't ever be sorry. Like I said, I've come to live streams in the last 10 seconds and said hello and kept it moving, and that was that. So who knows? Maybe I give you an extra minute or whatnot. Just because you're here. I may do an extra minute for you. Is there anything that you would like to add to the conversation before I go, OKC? Anything that you would like to say? Because we spoke about a lot of stuff. Anything. But if there's nothing from folks, and if all hearts and minds are clear, I'll try to give them a second. Yeah, no, it's okay. Okay, see, love you right back. Love you right back. Like I said, I just didn't want to just bounce because I seen you came in, so I was just giving you an extra minute or whatever, just in case if you wanted to say anything, in case you wanted to add something to the conversation. Basically, to wrap it up, some joke broke into my car yesterday. Sorry about that. Like I said, I hope everything works out the best. Contact your local authorities. Just be alert, stay alive, be safe. Don't try to be a hero. Just if you see any suspicious activity, just report it to the authorities. And just try to be careful out there. Anybody else out there going through anything that's rough, oh, I did. We got him on camera. Exactly. Cool. But don't try to be a hero out there. Don't go out there confronting anybody and trying to make it into a situation. We want you alive. We want you to be safe. We want you to just look around these surroundings. If you see somebody suspicious around the area, you know what? Find out what's going on. Iron Firehouse. And chat. Yes, I'm part. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay being late to the party. I appreciate the folks coming through. Got 7 people coming through now. I feel bad because I'm about to end the live stream and I got 7 people in here. But I appreciate you folks for coming through the chat. Don't forget to give a thumbs up. Don't forget to show that love. Rubber dub dub, show that love. Hashtag lunatic dad. But yeah, that's what that is about that. You go and have a great rest of your day. Yeah, I will, OKC. I definitely will. And again, I appreciate everybody for coming by. Thank you as always. Spread love. It's the Brooklyn way. Have a great day, Lulu. Thank you. Thank you for dropping the like. Enjoy your day.